All right. All right. All right. Welcome to Ann's Arbor podcast. How are you today?
Well, if I was any better, I'd be twins. I got my water, just got back from a workout and ice bath and feeling good and ready
Hey.
to talk some shop.
All right. All right. I need to up my water game. I've got a friend of mine and we're doing an accountability thing because I am not good at water.
I love it, but it's definitely it's one of those things that there's some days I'm like, man, did I drink enough today?
Yeah. Well, just to get started, what piqued my interest in reaching out to you was The Biggest Loser. I saw your Instagram post
Uh-huh.
and I know that you were on The Biggest Loser. So, what are your thoughts about what's going on with that new documentary?
I think it had an angle. I mean, obviously, at the end of the documentary, they're pushing Ozempic, and that's that. I film what works for me. I mean, so they're probably got some money come from Ozempic. I don't care if somebody takes Ozempic. It's up to them. I mean, I'm all for somebody doing whatever they need to do to make themselves feel the way they want to make themselves feel, as long as it's legal.
Yeah,
Um, but I just think you can't take 380 people's experiences and sum it down to 7 people. I
yeah,
don't I don't believe those people are wrong in what they think about their experience.
yeah.
Now, were they soft? A couple of them I think were pretty soft.
Oh,
I think the things they showed of Bob getting mad, like, I mean, we've had those altercations in daily life with our friends, where it's
yeah.
like you get frustrated with somebody and you're like, what the hell?
Right, right,
So, I
right.
mean, I thought she was soft. I mean, her friend that was there with her thought she was soft. But I'm also not her. I don't know what kind
Yeah,
of trauma she's had, what she's been through, what her life was like as a kid. I went through a very traumatic childhood, which got talked about on the show.
yeah.
And, it didn't bother me. Like, which to me, it's like, okay, you're on a TV show. They're going to make TV. When the
Right.
cameras go off, I mean, Bob was so nice. Dolvet was literally one of my best friends still to this day.
Yeah,
I never had Jillian. I don't know her. I met her one time. My interaction with her was brief, but it was fine. I mean, she
yeah,
didn't, wasn't anything bad. All the people on the show really treated us great. I mean, but now I was season 12, so
yeah.
they'd had some time to get through it. But
To
it was
tweak
just
it and
it was
figure
just two
out.
seasons before us, or well, I guess it was season 8, so 4 seasons before us when some of those people had their bigger issues. Excuse me, but I'm friends with Danny, and I mean he doesn't regret his time on the show. He goes, if I had a chance to go do it again right now, I'd go do it again right now.
Yeah,
So even though it like the metabolism stuff and all that, I do think he would make different choices
yeah.
because Bob came to me whenever I got switched to Bob's team. He came to me and offered me the 800 calorie diet, and I did it for one day, and I was like, dude, I can't do this. When I was on Dolved's team, he's like, hey, he would come and check us every night. Where's your calorie log? What
Yeah.
did you eat today? Let me look at your macros. Are you hitting the right numbers that the doctor gave you? And we were on a 45 carb, um, 25 fat, 30 protein, or it might have been 35 protein, 20 fat. I can't remember, but it was mostly carbs and protein, with a little bit of fat because, as you know, it doesn't take long to get those fat grams up because they're 9 calories per pound or 9 calories per gram as opposed to 4 calories per gram like carbs and protein. Um, but the doctors were there. I got rhabdomyolysis. I know they talked about that, and I saw some girl that came out. I guess was a doctor or a physical therapist on
Yeah,
some of the seasons, and she was saying how nobody ever got rhabdo except for her. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! It's like that's
yeah,
not true. I
yeah,
got rhabdo, but they knew to look for it then. So
yeah,
Tracy might have been the first one to get it, or
yeah,
the first one that they knew had it because she got it so bad.
yeah.
But for me, they caught it like as soon as it started happening. They made me. I wasn't allowed to do nothing. And
That's
so, like I said, I felt like they took great care of us. We had all the great, I mean, we had the best, freshest organic vegetables, fish, never frozen meats, bison, all
that's
lean, all
awesome.
100%
Yeah,
grass fed and grass finished. I mean, it was amazing the food we had. Like, I mean,
yeah,
you could make a bad choice. I mean, you could have went in there and made French fries if you wanted to. I guess
yeah.
theoretically, you could have cut up some fries and put some grease in the thing. You had all the access to that. But you're in a competition, I mean, my daily meals, I woke up and I'd eat 2 full cups of egg whites and a whole thing, a little package of strawberries, like 6 ounces,
Yeah.
or maybe it was, yeah, 6 ounces of strawberry or of raspberries. And that was my breakfast every single morning. And I made that a routine and I did it. And I got to where I loved it. Like I looked forward
Yeah.
to that meal. Every now and then I'd sprinkle a little bit of mozzarella cheese on it, or give it a little thing. I'd just do salt and pepper was my, kind of my things I put on it. But, but yeah, I mean, I loved my experience on the show. But again, like I said, it was just my experience is mine
Yeah.
and theirs is theirs. And I
Yeah.
believe what they say is true to them.
Yeah.
I just think it's hard for me to put up with somebody that is like, well, the caffeine pills and this and that. I mean, first off, we didn't have caffeine pills on my season. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
But to get mad, about that and then come back at the end and say, oh, now I'm taking Ozempic. I'm like, so you were mad about taking a 200 milligram
But
caffeine pill, which
it's
is
kind
just
of
like a Celsius
the
or a
same.
cup of
Yeah.
coffee or
Yeah.
a strong cup of coffee. I think a normal cup of coffee might be 100, 150. But a strong cup of coffee, I mean, every Celsius, every Alani, every one of those are 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
And so now you're upset about that, but then you're injecting yourself with something that has some proven side effects and some proven great results as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's interesting people's perspectives. Did they
yeah.
ask you to share your opinion on this show or no?
No, I mean they took a very select group, and I don't even know if they ever reached out to me. But there has been other people that said they did reach out to them, but pretty much as soon as they started being like, "Oh man, it was a great time and we learned so much,"
Then they just
they kind of just,
okay. Oh yeah.
So I think they had to bring
But they
Hannah
had
and
an
Olivia on there
agenda.
because Hannah and Olivia, twin sisters, they won both prizes. The main prize, I think.
And the team prize, I think too.
Yeah, it was whatever it was. They won two things, and they've done a great job, kept most of their weight off. Hannah was, she's a friend of mine, and she actually put in a good word for me to get on the show. But
Oh, nice.
whenever she lives, her husband Pate was as somebody I was friends with before I even knew her. Before she knew him, I kind of knew him, but he. But anyway, she was upset. She was like, it was like literally a month and a half after I'd had my baby, and when they started filming this, and she was like, and she goes out. I just felt like I looked because she's kept herself in great shape, but right after you have that baby, it takes a little bit of time. But now she's on there now, and she's just she's looking great and all that. And we don't judge each other. We have an alumni page.
Okay.
None of us judge each other. I mean, every one of us that have been on the show, our experience, I don't judge their experience. They don't judge mine.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk, I mean, there's been some heated moments in that page. You get 380 people in there. I don't know how many are actually
Everybody's
on,
got
but
an opinion. Yeah.
there's going to be opinions and all that kind of stuff. And we talk everything from politics to religion to whatever, and everybody has their own opinion. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the experience, and the weight loss and how are you keeping it off, and have you kept it off, can we help you in any way? We all try to help each other.
That's awesome.
We all give our insights. Everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
And so Dolvet used to say, you're not doing this for everybody, you're doing it for your body.
Yeah.
And I believe that's true. For me, I wanted to get bigger and stronger. I started focusing on strongman and powerlifting and all that. I didn't focus on running marathons and getting skinny and all that kind of stuff.
So
at the end of the show, I weighed about 242.
Yeah.
But I was really probably about 260 because I did a sweat out, the night before. Probably did a 15-pound sweat out, 260, 265, something like that. And now I weigh about 340 pounds. However, over the past 15 years, 14 and a half years, whatever it's been now, I've actually put on about 45 pounds of lean muscle mass.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think that's not a whole lot, but putting on 5 or 6 pounds a year is hard to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
Of lean muscle mass. Now, if I wanted to go and fill myself up with lactic acid and water and all that stuff, I could. But
yeah,
it was a great thing. And everybody on the show, like I said, we try to support each other. We try to be there for each other. There's a lot that have kept their weight off and look great. There's a lot that have not,
Yeah. So now that we've talked about that some, I want to talk about your life personally. You were on The Biggest Loser. You are an athlete. So I'm guessing you're a bodybuilder.
Well, I tried that bodybuilding route. My wife is a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And she's competed and won and got her qualified for a pro card. Then I got her pregnant. But for me, I did some strongman stuff. I played football through high school and thought I was going to go Division I and go to the NFL and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I still lift, and I've, like I said, I've competed in a few things, powerlifting and things like that. But I don't consider myself a pro in any of it. I'm a pretty good lifter. I'm a naturally strong human being. I grew up on a farm, hauling hay and doing all that. Yeah. So I've
There's
always
something about that farm boy strength,
Oh yeah, that's a whole different thing. You can grab a 5-gallon bucket and carry it full of water and
or a bale of hay.
Yeah. Yeah, my grip strength's pretty good. So
yeah, I bet. So you also do music, you DJ, you've authored a book. I mean, you've got your finger in a little bit of everything.
For me, I decided a long time ago, I don't want to wake up and wish I did. So when I have an idea, it may be a failure, and I failed at many things, but I kind of felt like, man, I don't want to wake up 10 years from now or 20 years from now or be laying on my deathbed and be like, man, I wish I'd have tried that.
Yeah.
I had an idea and I didn't see it through.
Yeah.
And not every idea makes the cut. I mean, I get an idea, I do suss it out. But when I thought about the kids book, it's like, man, it was a song that I already wrote. So all it is some money to get somebody to draw the illustrations that I have in my
Yeah.
head, because I'm not a great artist in that sense. But I got with my buddy Adam Michaels, and he kind of saw the vision I had, and I told him, I was like, I want it to be a mixture of Bobby's World and Golden Books, and I want the
Yeah.
watercolor and all this kind of dude. The first render he sent me was perfect. I mean, he just got it.
Awesome.
So I go for that. You know, I got in the hemp world for a little while. I had some hemp farms across North America.
Yeah.
Those did well up until 2020. You know, COVID kind of, you know, what
Yeah.
even COVID. It
That
was
out.
more of a political thing that killed the hemp industry, but I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will if you want to. Nothing's off limits with me, but let's keep it focused. But the I've tried that. Of course, I've had some successes in that and some big failures in that. I've done the DJing thing is brand new. I literally decided to do it. In 4th of July, I played a show at the Rio in Vegas, and it was a great show, poolside party. We were the full band.
Awesome.
We kept the party going. Met the DJ that day, kind of got to talking to him, found out kind of what he was making, what we were making, his expenses, our expenses. And I thought, man, I just don't know if I could do all the crazy stuff. He's like, man, it ain't always about these guys that can mix and drop the beat and do all. He goes, those are, you know, obviously that is a version of a DJ. That's more of a mixologist or a turntablist. He said, but a big part of being a DJ is being a personality. Can you keep the party up? Can you talk to people on the mic? Can you play the right song and the right feeling for right now? And once he showed me that, I was like, dude, I can do that. And so now I've started doing that. You know, I'm still putting on my promotions. I've got a French Lick, Indiana this weekend. I got a promotion that I put together with, I got Montgomery Gentry, which is just Eddie now, but, you know, we still go by Montgomery Gentry. Taylor Holder, Saving Abel, you know, me, I'll be there. There's a few other, you know, folks are going to be on it. So I'm just always looking at the next thing. I just got my real estate license, and I did that. I literally was like, I never thought about it. You know, my buddy Jay Nelson had asked me a million times, dude, you got such a great person. You'd be a great real estate agent. I'm like, I'm a musician. I don't do that. He's like, yeah, but don't you have time that you could do it? I was like, well, I mean, I guess I have some time, but I don't want to do it. He thought this was like 10 years ago. He's pushing me. And then I have referred a bunch of houses throughout the time to other friends that were real estate agents. And finally, one of them said, you know, if you had your real estate license, you could be getting like 25% of the gross commission on average. Yeah. And I was like, huh? And I started thinking about the 30 or 40 houses, that maybe even 50 houses that I've referred over the years. I probably gave away $300,000-$400,000, you know? So just, you know, like I said, I just enjoy life. I feel like God gave me a second chance. You know, I was supposed to be dead before I was 30. And, you know, I was blessed to get another chance to have another chance at life, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I had my first wife was a girl named Lori Diaz. She goes by Ren now, but I didn't want to go on the show. She kind of forced me. She kind of pushed me and told me, you know, that I needed to do it and all that kind of stuff. And was a big influence in that and helped me make that decision. And we didn't work out as a couple, but, you know, we still have, you know, relatively a decent friendship and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, but I do credit her. Like, she was the one that pushed me to go on the show.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because it really was life-saving for you.
It was 100%. Yeah.
I listened to your most recent single, Walmart Drip.
Oh, Lord.
I laughed so hard at that song. So how do you classify your music? Because that's like a parody, comedy type song.
Yeah.
So
well, the first song that I ever become somewhat notoriety for my band Trailer Choir was called "Rockin' the Beer Gut," and it was about girls with beer guts, and it got to the in the 20s on the country music Billboard charts, and I think it might have got to like 23 on Media Base and 28 on Billboard. I think something like that. Either way, it was in the 20s and it did good. And it's what gave me my career. It's what gave me that chance. So kind of always had that comedy aspect. I didn't write that song. Butter wrote that song by himself.
Okay.
This song literally was just born because we were going to watch that eclipse that happened a little over a year ago. Yeah. And we didn't have the glasses. So my wife said, well, I just looked up at Walmart. They got these glasses. Let's go get some. And I didn't realize I was being tricked into going to Walmart because every time we go there, we spend $500 plus. So we get there and I'm like, hey, listen, we're just getting these glasses and going straight home. She goes, I gotta get a few things. And I knew that was going to cost it. So I was kind of in there pouting, to be honest with you. But as I was in my full pout mode, you know, and she was grabbing some stuff for the kids, I looked over and I see the swimsuits and they had the new Snoop Dogg line out and it had these swimsuits. And I went over there and it was like the, you know, Miami Beach, you know, sunset with the trees and the whole thing. It's on the video. It's one I wear in the video. But I just saw that over there. It's the first time I've ever departed from the overalls for a music video.
Yeah.
But I saw him sitting over there, and I'm like, man, that's a pretty good. It was in April, I think. I said, that'd be a great swimsuit for this summer. Let me see if they got my size. Walked over. Of course, they had a 2XL. And I was like, all right. And then, I got it. And I had those little shorty shorts and had the net jersey from from the 90s. So I'm like, I'm getting this thing. And I took it back over the cart. And she kind of looked at me. She's like, I thought you said we weren't getting nothing. I was like, well, look, I can't pass this up. It was like $12.99. So I do what every guy does. I get home. I immediately put on the outfit. And I'm like, oh, man, look at that. I'm looking good, So I look at my wife. We're sitting outside waiting on this eclipse, and my kids are out there. We made a little picnic, the whole nine. And I'm sitting there and go, dang, girl, you get all this drip. And she's like, what? I was like, all this drip, my fit, girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, that's what all the TikTok kids are saying. She said, you're 40 years old. I said, yeah, but I'm looking retired today. And she started laughing, and I started going, Walmart drip from my head to my toes. Got that Walmart drip. And she goes, stop. Go inside right now and write that. She goes, it's the dumbest thing you ever come up with. It'll probably be a big old hit.
Oh, and awesome.
So I went inside and I, started writing a little bit. I did a verse and chorus, came back and I did a little video of me with a pooper scooper and being in my dad bod clothes. And I snapped it in the camera at the end of it saying Walmart drip. And I kind of snap it, in the camera. And he got 20 or 30,000 views, it was big for my page, And I was like, okay. I said, there might be something here. Yeah. Kind of put it aside and forgot about it, focused on my other songs, my songs that I've written that rip your heart out and all that.
Yes.
And it just kept coming back up. Well, I was speaking at a school. I do a lot of motivational speaking. I was speaking at a school with my buddy Jared Blake. He goes, hey, man, you ought to sing that Walmart drip song. I was like, I don't even have a whole song. It's just a verse and chorus. He goes, sing it and see what they do. I'm telling you, they were singing along every time they were like, Walmart drip. I posted that clip on, and I said, okay, well, I guess I got to go and record this, finish the song and record the whole thing. So I did. Yeah. Well, but I love it. It was the most fun I've had writing since the early Trailer Choir days. I didn't overthink it. I just had fun with it. I just went in and said, okay, well, I want to write a song that's for everybody. So it starts off with the guy that's my age, 40 years old, getting his clothes. Goes to the grandpa that's getting, his grandkids for the weekend, and he's getting his prescription filled. And it's the mom shopping for the birthday gift and the groceries and getting her a little Jessica Simpson, outfit.
Yes, everybody knows Walmart. Everybody does Walmart.
Usually, we all have those big memories. Yeah. And that's one of the things I ask a lot of these. I had Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC was in the video. My buddy Miles Burris was the main role in it with me, and he played for the Raiders. He was in the movie Safety on Disney. He's been in The Young Rock. He's been in several shows, and he played for the Raiders. And then Taylor Holder was in it. He's like 20 million TikTok followers, and he come in and jumped in. So just made some cameos. I got Butter in it. Had my buddy Moon in it. The older gentleman that played in it was Ken Harrell. He was my songwriting mentor. And it was the second time I got to have my wife and my wife and kids in a video with me. So that was cool.
Fun. Well, you definitely are absolutely comical. Have you ever thought about stand-up comedy? Have you ever thought about kind of dipping?
I've written a couple of bits here and there, and kind of put it together. I think for me, it's just that it's not. I think it's something I could do really well at.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
For whatever reason, I love to go watch it, but it's not something I necessarily have ever wanted to actually pursue. But I do write down some comedy bits here and there and come up with stuff. And I just realized that, for me, I stay pretty clean on anything I do.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, when I get in comedy mode, even when I'm writing comedy songs, my mind goes into this like dirties, sometimes, cuss. And I just, that's never going to be my brand. My brand's always going to be happy go lucky, love life, love Jesus. That's just who I am. That's what I'm about. And so I don't ever want to throw that off. That's why I think Walmart drip worked, because it was comedy.
Yeah.
But there have been successful, clean comics. Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy, probably two of the biggest comedians of all time. And because they were all ages and anybody could listen and not be, I guess, scarred for life.
Yeah, I actually just watched Jeff Foxworthy this morning talking about how he ended up doing a small group for the homeless.
Oh, he's such a great guy.
Oh my gosh.
I was on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, the celebrity edition.
Really?
Yeah, my band got to be on it, and we failed miserably. I, however, Perry County, Tennessee, high school native alumni, got every one of my questions correct. The other two, both with college educations, got all of their questions wrong. So that's all I'm just throwing it out there.
Yep. Shout
I
out to
was
the school.
shout out
Did a good
PC for
job.
I knew which continent was the closest to North America. I
Nice.
knew it's outside of obviously South
Yeah.
America. I
Yeah.
knew well, one was like, how would you make two triangles out of this square? So I had to like draw a diagonal thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the other one was I don't know what the other question was, but it was something simple, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I actually met you, I think, right after Biggest Loser. You had come to our church,
oh
Destiny.
yeah, well, Destiny Church.
Yeah, in Columbia, Tennessee, to
Yeah, I
speak.
love. I lived in Columbia at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was the first time I ever met you, and I was just taken. Your story, your testimony, what you shared was just incredible. And so I've always kind of kept an eye on you through, through the years, just because I've admired what you've done. I've admired
yeah.
you as a person. So, like, if you do you have a cause or something that moves your heart? Because at Ann's Arbor, we're all about um, being a blessing and
Oh
helping
yeah.
others and
I have.
supporting.
There's so many things. I love. I mean, if I could somehow pay all my bills while doing philanthropy,
Yeah.
I would be doing it all the time. I love it. I work with a group called Mechanics on a Mission,
Okay.
and that's one of my main charities that I work with. I kind of host and MC all their shows. I help bring in the talent, and we give away. We're trying to give away 100 cars this year to people in need. It could be a person that's homeless and has nothing else, and we're giving them that first kind of leg up, or it
Yeah.
could be a family has a little girl that's made it to college. They don't have the money to get her a car. She needs a way to get back and forth,
Right.
and we give them a car. So there we believe there's need giving. Obviously there's the needs that help meet them, but we think there's encouragement giving. We think that there's
Well, that's
uh,
incredible. I definitely I was a single mom for 14 years.
yeah.
And there were times in my life, like I had a family that was just out of the goodness of their heart, gave me a car when mine broke down, and I didn't have any other way to go.
It will change. I mean, every time we give one of those cars away,
Yeah.
they gave one to my mom last year, and it was like I would have never asked for one to be given to somebody in my family because that's just your I guess pride, or it's
Right. Right.
maybe it's just like you don't want to feel like you're asking. But
Right.
my mom was just down on her luck, and her car had broke down, and she had it as a mechanic, and they couldn't figure it out because there's so many computer systems now in these cars and everything. And so we were going to give one away at a concert I was doing. I own the Buffalo River Resort in Perry County,
Yes,
Tennessee.
I was going to ask about that.
And it's one of my it's my only it's my retirement investment, just so you know. Um, but I own this piece of property. We put on these concerts, so I had Tyler Farr playing out there, and Tyler's a good buddy, and he lives over in Chapel Hill, so he's right around our area. But
Yeah.
um, we always do it. We always make them our beneficiary of everything we do out there. Not every time. We've done the
Yeah.
school, we've done some other stuff, but the last couple of years it's been them. And we couldn't figure out who to give a car to. We wanted to give it to somebody local in the area. We had asked, hey, is there somebody that y'all can suggest? We asked the school, we asked the superintendent, we asked the sheriff. We kind of went around asking. They're like, well, it's like I don't know, I don't know about this one, that one. There was no like definitive name.
Yeah.
And then I had shared in church that my mom's car broke down, and that I just wanted to pray for her. Well, the pastor, as our pastor at our church, is the one who runs Mechanics on a Mission.
Okay.
So he calls me one night. He said, "Hey, Vinny," he's like, "I want to give this car to your mom." And I'm like, "What?" It was like a 2011 Lexus. Like it was a nice car.
Yeah.
It only had like 90,000 miles. I'm like, "Can I give her my car? Y'all give me this thing." But no, he said, "I want to get," and I just started crying. And then when we gave it to her, I didn't let her know. I kept it close to the hip. I didn't tell my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And I made sure that they realized, my brothers and sisters and everything, that I didn't give her this car.
Yes. Yeah.
The church gave her this car. The charity gave her this car because I didn't ever want them to feel like,
No.
man, Vinny
Yeah.
showed up. Because it wasn't me at all. I didn't
it
even
was
know. I
God.
didn't ask
Yeah.
for it. None of that stuff.
It's completely
And so
God.
just the blessings there. So I do that. My own charity is called Music with a Mission.
Okay.
And it started off, kind of just me. Whenever my stepson, Brennan, Lori's son, he kept coming home every day selling something else. One day it was wrapping paper. The next day it's candy bars. The next day it's donuts. The next day it's pizzas. The next day. And I'm just like, well, golly, I said, they want our kids to be in shape, or we're trying to get them in better shape. And every day they come home selling more donuts and cookies and cakes and pies and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's got to be something else. And I started thinking, I was like, well, what if we had a concert at the school?
Yeah.
And we had a pretty big name come in, and instead of selling, donuts, they sold tickets. and the school keeps 20% of the ticket sales, and then we let them get 100% of the concessions, which is where a lot of the money is
Yeah.
at.
Right, right,
I
right.
said, but we keep the 80% of ticket sales, and then we keep the sponsorship dollars
Yeah.
in order to put it on.
Right.
And hang on a second, I don't know what's going on here.
Oh,
Okay, should be good now.
I don't
Well,
see you. Where'd you go?
cut me off. Okay, I'm back.
There you
I don't
are.
know what happened. It was a spam risk, which calls me 75 times a day. And so, anyways, I was kind of sitting there complaining, and then Lori was the one that said, she goes, well, she goes, you come up with a better idea. And that's when I
Yeah.
started thinking about the concerts. And I went in and I thought, what could I call it? And actually, she was the one that came up with the name Music with a Mission. And I was just like, okay, I love that name. That's real
Yeah.
deal. We're going to go in and play music. And my goal was to target music programs.
Yes.
Originally, I wanted to go in and help schools have music programs. I feel like the arts always get put out first. And art is the only universal language when you really think about it. Now, math is, but people draw characters differently in that. Whereas if you hear somebody singing, they're singing. Now, it may not be what you like, but if they're trying to sing a song, if they're playing a guitar, if they're playing a piano, if they're playing a kazoo, whatever, it's music.
And it gets straight to the heart, whether you understand the words or not.
Well, and then I feel like, especially in small towns, and I, I love my small town. Perry County is my favorite place in the world to be, other than in my wife's arms. But, there really was nothing there for the kids that weren't athletes. I was blessed because I was an athlete, but I wish we would have had music too. But we didn't have a music program. When we were in grade school, there was a woman that would come once every 2 weeks or so, and we'd do blocks or whatever that we could bang on stuff, do some. But there was no real music teacher. Now they do have a band there, which I'm proud of them for that. They have a little band going, and it just gives an outlet to those kids that don't have it. So I thought, well, let's raise money for the music programs. Well, what I came to find out was I could specify some of that, but the schools wanted to decide where the money was going to go and what their needs were. And I thought, what, that's probably they know more what they need in order to keep our kids, teaching them all that kind of stuff. A lot of it went over, and this was in 2013, 14, 13. Yeah, maybe 2013. And so they were switching over to computers and iPads and all this other stuff. And a lot of schools that have it, and a lot of kids couldn't afford them, especially, an iPad now, what is it, $200? Back then it was like $1,800. It's like a flat screen TV. You used to have a flat screen TV, $7,500. Now it's like $150 at Walmart,
Right.
So some stuff has gotten cheaper. I don't know how, but it has. But yeah, so that was kind of the mission behind that. And then, like I said, I worked tunnels of hours. I do a ton of work for. I've done so much for St. Jude in the country music world. Country Cares.
Yeah, we love
Country Cares is huge in that. And I when I visited that facility, it became part of my heart forever. So yeah, I love philanthropy. So
if you could direct the listeners to a specific cause that you would like to support this month or this week,
yeah. Oh, Mechanics on a Mission. I mean, I really just feel like they're doing so many great things.
You can go on Facebook, or what is there a web page? Is there?
I think it's just mechanicsonAmission.com. It might be .org or .net, but I'll see if I can get it and I can send it over to y'all before the end of it. But yeah, they have it where you can become a monthly donor, and we're actually doing an event November 1st. I got Walker Hayes coming in to doing a thing at the Grove, and he's going to sing and play, and we're going to raise money. We're going to give 2 cars away. As you know, Walker was a recipient of a car before that somebody helped him when he was really down on his luck, especially in the music industry. And so we were able to get him to do it, and we paid him. We don't believe in people coming to work for free. He would have done it for free, but I'm like, nah, man, we're going to pay you. I said, but you could either take that money and give it directly to the charity or whatever. I said, but let it come through you. That way it's a write-off for you, because Lord knows after Fancy Like he needs a lot of write-offs. So.
Well, I tell you what, I love the cars, the Mechanics for a Mission. That is something that is near and dear to my heart, just as having been a recipient of just a family that was getting ready to sell their car, and they found out that my car broke down, and they just decided instead they were going to give me the car.
I love it.
That had traded in. And then I was able to do something similar when I got, I purchased a car, and I had a car still that was, in decent shape, but it needed a few repairs that I didn't have the skill to do. Gave it to a friend of mine, and because they said they had a single mom who was
awesome,
that needed a car, and so they fixed it up for her and gave it to her. And I was like, I don't want, this is all God, It's
that's a beautiful thing. You passing the blessing on, and that's what we're supposed to do. It's like I think about, I'm all for capitalism. I'm a guy. It's like you go make as much money as you can, but I hope that you do the right thing with your money when
Right.
you get it,
Right.
because at some point, I mean, a guy that has $100 million, I don't know how he ever spends it, because even if he just put it in the bank, he'd make $10 million a year, or $5 million a year,
Right.
even if it was just in CDs,
Hmm.
just off the interest. So it's just like, what are you doing with your money? And for me, I hope people do the right thing, but
Yeah.
like I said, they have free will. God gave us free
Right.
will. You do
Right.
go do whatever you want to do, but I hope that somebody that gets that kind of blessing understands it and
Yeah.
passes it on.
Well, and
But we also, that's the other thing with Mechanics on a Mission.
yeah.
They don't just give the cars away. They actually do have people that come in and say, hey, I can't afford new brakes, but I got to have them. It's dangerous. They'll fix those brakes,
Oh,
for
nice.
people and
Now,
things like that.
are they
They do a
local to
lot
your
more in
area?
repairs probably than giveaways. Do what?
Are they local to your area, or is
They're
it?
all over Middle Tennessee, but we're based out of here in Murfreesboro.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, that's incredible. That is incredible, and I love it. But we are running out of time, it looks like. So,
Yeah.
is
That
there
happens with
anything
me. I
else?
talk a lot.
Me too. Me too. My husband's like, honey, can you please? I just need quiet.
Yeah.
Like, but. So is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything that I've forgotten to add
Uh,
that you would like to mention?
I don't know of anything right offhand other than just, man, I hope everybody has a great day. I hope that whatever you're working for, starts coming your way. I hope you continue to believe in yourself. And, I always tell people you're worth the things you're willing to work for. So if you
Yeah.
ain't willing to work for it, don't expect it to come. But if you're out there working,
I
just
may
have
use
some,
that actually.
have some diligence about it. Stick with it. If it's something you believe in, you got to go for it, because so many times in this world, I think people stop just short of the pot of gold. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just keep on digging. If it's something you love, keep on digging, keep going. And more than anything, I hope you find Jesus Christ, and I hope you understand that none of us are perfect, but we all have a perfect sacrifice that died for us. You know what
Absolutely.
I found out today? Actually, this is something I want to share. I'm going to make a TikTok on it later, but
Right?
I didn't realize this until today. But the way they make anti-venom for snakes, have you ever seen this?
They take the actual venom.
They take the actual venom
Huh?
and they slowly microdose it into the lamb, like a baby, baby sheep. And
Really?
over the time, their blood develops, the blood of the lamb develops the immunity that becomes the anti venom to snake venom.
No way.
Ain't that wild? So the blood of the lamb takes out the snake.
That's
I don't. I
incredible.
mean,
That'll
you go
preach.
look it up. You can chat GPT, and I saw that. First I saw this video on it. I'm like, that ain't real. So I chat GPT.
I got
Sure enough,
goosebumps.
yeah, and they'll use horses as well,
Mhm.
which is also because Jesus is going to come back on a white horse.
Yeah.
Um,
There you go.
but the lambs are more prominently used because they have such a high tolerance to the snake venom,
That's incredible.
that of course they don't inject them with enough to kill
Yeah.
them. They just
Yeah.
inject them.
With
They put
enough
it in
to
there,
create that.
and then their blood creates the antivenom, and that's what they use.
That's incredible. Well, they say too that the let me see if I can get this right. The building blocks that create our DNA
Yeah.
are in the shape of a cross. Like the actual
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
is in the shape of a cross.
Yeah.
And I just think there's so much that points us to the one that created us.
100%.
It
And the thing is, and I did a whole when I was doing my podcast for the studio, got so booked that I couldn't book it anymore.
yeah.
But when I was doing my podcast, I did this whole episode on Jelly Roll, and a lot of preachers calling him a lot of bad stuff and
Oh,
saying
I
these
love
things. I'm
Jelly
like, listen,
Roll. I
right
love
now he's a new Christian. Now he's been a Christian for a long time, but he's new to actually professing his love for Jesus and all that. And he's what I always called ignorance on fire. He's like, hey, he don't know what he don't know.
yeah.
He can't
Right.
get up and tell you everything in the Bible and read you scripture directly
No.
that he knows from his mind, but he's convicted that Jesus Christ is the reason he's got it. And when you stifle that, you keep him from growing into the Christian that
Right.
you think you should already be, while
Right.
he's just in the infancy stage of being a
Yeah.
Christian.
He's just on
And
fire. He just wants to share.
yeah, I mean, he's just
You know,
excited about it, and
he's
that's
found
that's
freedom and
what
he
leads
wants to
me.
share that freedom.
Yeah, he wants to share. He wants to say, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
Jesus is changing my life."
Right.
He's
Right.
so
Right.
different today than he was. I've known him for 20 years. He's so different today than he was then. He's so different now than he was 5 years
Oh,
ago.
I bet. I bet.
And he's
Yeah.
slowly becoming that. And I think when you look at his wife Bunny, her past, her history, and all that kind of stuff, he's bringing her along with him.
Yeah.
God put her in his life for a reason, and put him in her life for a reason.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
they're growing together, and they're going to be examples for all these people.
I love
And
it.
in the Bible, God uses a donkey to deliver the
Exactly.
message.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
uses a burning bush.
Well, and
And I just think, man, I just think we got to
he
give people grace, and every single one of us. I mean, everybody that is casting judgment. Just remember, I can't remember exactly the scripture, but it says that you'll be judged the way that you judge.
yes,
How
it,
harshly you judge is how you'll be judged.
yes,
And I just think that, for the life of me, I can't understand um, people judging so harshly that they can't forgive anybody and anything. And I
yeah,
just think that we're called to do as Christians is love and forgive. Oh, sorry. I think what we're called to do as Christians is love and forgive. And,
that's it.
my hopes is that, if people are out there watching, the biggest thing that helped me lose weight is when I was able to forgive my mom. When I
Mm,
was able to look at my mom and say, I forgive you for all these things that I held against you for all this time, because I only looked at it from my perception. I never looked at it from her point of view. I never thought about her story, what she went through. It was just like, hey, this is what happened to me, and you should have stopped it. And so once I finally put myself in her shoes, I was able to be like, man, this woman went through so much more than I did.
right.
The fact that she even, kept food in my belly and a roof over my head was a miracle.
She was
And
on.
so, like I said, it just, we all got to learn to love and forgive. And, I'm not saying that, every single thing you just let be a pass,
Yeah,
because obviously we got to hold people accountable as well.
right, right.
But I do think that we got to give people a chance to become better,
I
So,
agree. I agree.
anyways, I'm going to get off my high horse. I'll get to preaching and crying and
No,
everything else
I
on the
love
next
it.
time.
I love it. I wish we had more time, but I definitely appreciate you taking time to talk with me today. And
Yeah.
you guys heard it straight from Vinny. Mechanics on a mission. Support them if you
Yeah.
can, if you feel so led. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Peace out. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.